Hi guys, it's Pat, your German finance buddy. Welcome back to the second part of 10 reasons why most people are still living paycheck to paycheck. In the last video we talked about bad spending habits and how to increase your income. Today we'll talk about problems with your financial mindset and some of the most expensive investing mistakes. I'll explain these investing mistakes by telling a story about Jennifer and James. And believe me, there's a big surprise waiting for you. But first, we'll adjust our financial mindset. One key problem is that most of you guys don't have a clearly defined financial goal. It's like starting a big road trip without any planning. Sure, you can randomly end up in a nice place, but you can also end up in the middle of nowhere with next to no gas in your tank, or figuratively speaking, no money in the bank. Fun fact, nowhere seems to be in Glasgow, Montana, which is about 4 car hours away from any bigger city. Crazy! But back to goal setting. Only 1 in 3 Americans has long-term financial goals. And that's one of the major reasons so many people struggle financially. You've probably heard about the famous Harvard study that the 3% of students with written goals earn 10 times as much as the rest of the group combined. Let's assume there are 100 people in your extended circle of friends and only 3 of them have written goals. Let's say your 97 friends without written goals earn the average salary of $53,000 per year. Put together, that amounts to $5.1 million per year. But remember, your 3 friends with written goals earn 10 times as much, which would be 51 million or 17 million per person. If you think about it this way, it's almost unbelievable. So it's crucial that you have a clearly defined financial goal. At least my experience has been that it gives you a direction to go and the basis for making decisions. I want a big financial cushion in the next couple of years. That's a good start, but you should set specific goals like I'll save 100 grand in the next 3 years. Or I'll earn 5 grand each month in 2 years from now. The more accurate you define your goal, the better. Your goal should have a defined time frame and you should set an exact amount of money you want to save or an after-tax income you want to earn each month. Based on this goal, you can define the necessary steps you need to take to ultimately achieve it. Like cutting most of your non-essential expenses, increasing your savings rate, or doing some advanced training to boost your income. Sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, it takes some effort to follow through on these steps. Which leads us to the next reason a lot of people still struggle financially. They have nobody that holds them accountable. And that is crucial because there will be times when you are not as strong-willed as you were when you set the goal. I think I'll buy this TV set. Mine is already 3 years old. In these moments, it's especially important to have someone to motivate you. Talk with a buddy, your brother, or your spouse about your financial goals. Tell them about the different steps you have planned and ask them for further ideas on how to achieve your goal. Ideally, you encourage them to set a financial goal as well, because then you can make a game of it. You can challenge each other with things like, let's see who spends less on gas over the next 4 weeks. I think I'll ride my bike for that bank appointment tomorrow, and if I'm in town anyway, I'll go to the pharmacy as well. Suddenly you drive your bike more often and manage to combine some of your errands. Challenges are great to get your brain going and think about different ways to spend less. I got my wife in on my goal, and together we came up with more and more ways to spend less while still leading a very enjoyable life. So you get the best chance to succeed if you clearly define and write down a goal and then share it with somebody close to you who pushes you in the right direction. It's best to share the video with your future financial buddy now, so that he knows right away that you are taking your life into your own hands from now on. And a great way to start would be to pay yourself first. Most people who are broke don't pay themselves first. Which means they completely neglect their future self and live exclusively in the here and now. They spend everything they earn because why on earth should they bother the rain as long as the sun shines? But the next storm inevitably comes. You don't know when the time will come, but if you are honest with yourself, you probably know that you should prepare now. However, 56% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency expense without going into debt or borrowing from friends. That's a little sad, because either 56 out of your 100 friends are not able to save for their future, or even worse, they just don't care enough. If you want to escape the financial treadmill, you should use the golden rule of personal finance and pay yourself first. This means that you automatically put a fraction of every paycheck in your retirement account or an index fund. In a perfect world, you completely forget about this money. It's not yours and you are not allowed to spend it because it belongs to your future self. But even before you pay yourself, it makes a lot of sense to pay off high interest debt and to build an emergency fund which covers 3 to 4 times your monthly expenses. Once this is done, at least 10% of your paycheck should automatically go to your retirement or savings accounts. And 10% are the bare minimum. You should aim for a savings rate of 20 to 30%. I know it's tough and way above the current average savings rate of 3.5%. But I'm pretty sure you want your future self to have a better than average life, so it's well worth the effort. Another way to pay yourself first is to invest in further education. It's not an expense, it's an investment, because you are improving your professional skills, which most probably leads to a higher salary. So everything that helps your future self is great, and consider paying yourself first. Buying a low-fee index fund or improving your professional skills is most probably beneficial for your future. More consumer debt, on the other hand, will only hold you back from your financial goals. And finally, we will look at your investments. A big reason that keeps the middle class poor is that they are not using the compound interest effect. The effect gets stronger over time because in the beginning you only earn interest for the money you invested. But next year the interest you earned on your money will earn interest itself. 10 grand earns $700 in interest. These $10,700 earn $749 in interest in year 2. The amount of interest continues to grow steadily. After 25 years, your $10,000 investment is worth more than $57,000. Your money earned close to 5 times its original value in interest. You've certainly heard it before. The compound effect is like the unstoppable snowball that gets bigger and bigger. Unfortunately, 1 out of 3 of your friends saved nothing for retirement in 2020. And nearly 1/4 has no retirement plan at all. Now let's get to our story about James and Jennifer. They are both saving for retirement, which is great. Jennifer starts at age 25 to invest $500 per month. James starts at age 40 to invest the same amount each month. And he's pretty confident about retiring at age 60 because after all he's investing for 20 years. Both use a low-cost index fund averaging 7% after inflation. Now let's look how big their nest eggs will be when they celebrate their 60th birthday. Be ready for a surprise. At age 40, when James starts to invest, Jennifer has already $158,000 in her portfolio. At age 50, James has saved 86 grand, while Jennifer already surpassed the barrier of 400 grand and expanded her lead to $300,000. And today is their 60th birthday. Jennifer logs into her brokerage account and is pleasantly surprised that her portfolio has a value of $900,527. That same morning, James logs into his portfolio and is somewhat disappointed because it's valued at only around $260,000. Jennifer has saved 3 times as much, although she hasn't even saved twice as long as James has. That's the power of compound interest. Start early and invest regularly and enjoy a worry-free retirement while James is still working to get by. Now we get to our final reason that keeps the middle class poor, and that's investing in expensive, actively managed funds. Over a 10-year period, only 1 in 10 active funds that invests in US large caps outperforms their benchmark. For US large growth, it's only 1 in 12 active funds that outperforms the benchmark. And the stats are even worse for a 20-year holding period. Time for another story about James. This time he's still in his early 20s and decides to invest in an actively managed fund that has been successful in the last couple of years. He hasn't heard the news that in the long term only a tiny fraction of active funds outperform their benchmark. And if so, they only outperform on a small scale. Because James is unknowing, he's willing to pay a 1.5% fee. Jennifer stays with her low-cost index fund. Both start investing at age 25 and will do so until age 60. As in the last example, both invest $500 per month. James' active fund couldn't manage to outperform the index consistently. Over time it returned the average 7% after inflation, but there's still a 1.5% fee. So the overall return was only 5.5% per year, whereas Jennifer's index fund returned the average 7% after inflation. Let's check out how that affects their portfolios. After 5 years at age 30, there's only a small difference. But over time the difference between their portfolios grows. At age 40, Jennifer is about 19 grand ahead. At age 50, the difference is already more than $80,000. And on the morning of their 60th birthday, Jennifer has a nest egg of round about $900,000, whereas James' portfolio has a value of only $635,000. Better than last time, but by far not as good as Jennifer's low-stress, low-fee approach with the index fund. For long-term wealth, low fees and consistency are key. Warren Buffett, the master himself, suggests that retail investors should buy a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. In his will, he even stated how the money he leaves for his wife should be invested. 90% low-cost S&P 500 index fund and 10% short-term government bonds. If you do nothing else, then at least follow the master's advice and do so as early as possible. That's it for today's video. If you learned something new, please go on and hit the like button. Share your thoughts in the comments and let me know which topics you would like to hear more about. Greetings from Germany and see you next time. Your German finance buddy.